hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Well, that is our cue to once again address the scam, the hoax of man-caused global warming. And what's brought this to the surface is an 841-page tome from the Obama administration and all the dangers of global warming. And the whole thing is, what you need to understand about this whole global warming business, now it's climate disruption, but it's global warming is what they're talking about. And one of the reasons they've gone away from global warming is there isn't any. I mean, I've got a story. I'm looking at it right here. I'm looking at the charts. AmericanThinker.com. The United States has not warmed since 1991. Since 1991. There's been no global warming since 1995. Now we see these charts. Every region, all the climate regions in the United States, no global warming since 1991 in any U.S. climate region, with the sole exception of the Northeast Division, for which there has been an increasing trend since 1991, but no trend since 1998. So you got one little tiny sliver of the United States that saw some small global warming for about 7 years, none for the last 16 years, and none in the last 23 years in the continental United States. So so they have to go away from global warming because there isn't any global warming. It doesn't exist. And so they got to come up with some kind of some other kind of boogeyman. And now it's climate change, climate disruption, extreme weather, and all that. And Roy Spencer's got a good piece here. Climatologist Dr. Roy Spencer, he's been a guest on this program. And I'm just going to read some excerpts from their analysis, his analysis, and then the founder of the Weather Channel, co-founder of the Weather Channel, what they said about this report. This is Dr. Roy Spencer on this 840-page gloom and doom report on the catastrophe that awaits us if we don't spend billions and billions and billions of dollars to solve a problem that does not exist. Dr. Spencer says this: follow the money, folks. In other words, here's what he's saying. And this is the bottom line takeaway from this segment. The global warming hysteria is about money. It is not about science. Global warming hysteria is about money. It is not about science. They could care less about the science. They ignore science that raises questions about any of their assumptions or any of their positions on the issue of global warming. Why? Because the only way they can get money, this is a $2.6 billion a year industry of taxpayer money. Your dollars, my dollars, $2.6 billion every year goes to people to look into this issue of global warming. Now, if they want to keep those dollars coming, they have to convince us that there is a catastrophe that is looming on the horizon, that they have to alarm us. They have to frighten us. They have to wig us out. They've got to freak us out, give us money, or the planet is doomed. It's going to incinerate. It's going to be awash in sea waters. It's going to burn to a crisp if you don't cough up billions and billions of dollars to support us as we do research to save the planet. The whole thing is a fundraising scam. I mean, these people, I'm trying to think of the analogy off the top of my head, but you know those people that go door to door selling magazine subscriptions, or used to, only there weren't any magazine subscriptions. They take your money and then they dump your application form somewhere and walk off with your money and go on to the next town and fleece the people in that community. This is exactly what this is. It is a scam. I mean, Martha Stewart went to prison for stuff that is more ethical than this. So it's unethical. It is corrupt. It's nothing but a fundraising scam. Dr. Roy Spencer, follow the money, folks. This glitzy 840-page report took a lot of your tax dollars to generate, involved only those experts who were willing to play the game. It is difficult to answer in its entirety because the government has billions of dollars to invest in this, while most of us who try to bring some sanity to the issue must do it in our spare time because we aren't paid to do it. Why does nobody pay them to do it? Because if there's no crisis, there's no money. Why would we pay anybody money if there's no crisis? So the people that are saying, look, we don't have a crisis, who's going to give them money to say that? But if there's a crisis, they can get all kinds of government money to raise the alarm and convince people we've got to fund this or it's an imminent catastrophe. Like the previous two national assessment reports, Dr. Spencer goes on, it takes global climate models which cannot even hindcast what has happened before. It's important to understand that all of this hysteria over global warming, all of it, every last bit of it, is based on computer models. It's not based on science. It's not based on temperature readings. It's based on computer models. So they plug this data in, you know the old saw, garbage in, garbage out. You plug in faulty information in the front and you're going to get faulty projections. But everything is built on these models. And Dr. Roy Spencer says, look, these models, they can't even predict what's already happened. If you run these climate models in reverse, if they were anywhere close to accurate, they would be able to tell you what had happened, and they can't. We talk about hindsight being 20/20. Well, it's not when it comes to these computer models. They're catastrophically off beam, even doing hindcasting. Global climate models which cannot even hindcast what has happened before. Take these global models, you know exactly what's happened for the last 17 or 18 years or whatever, and then you go to the models, they can't even predict what's already happened. So that's how absurd and how unscientific the process is. These climate models over-forecast global average warming, which are known to have essentially zero skill for regional predictions, and uses them anyway to instill fear into the masses so that we might be led to safety by politicians. And he mentions a couple of claims. Climate change threatens human health and well-being in many ways, including through more extreme weather events and wildlife, decreased air quality, diseases transmitted by insects, food, and water. Here's what Spencer says. Most of this is just simply made up and ignores the positive benefits of access to affordable energy, which far outweigh the negatives. Then the co-founder of the Weather Channel, then we'll go to the phones. His name is John Coleman. He says this is a 600-page litany of doom. Co-founder of the Weather Channel now. Guy knows what he's talking about. This is a total distortion. This is a quote, a total distortion of the data, an agenda-driven, destructive episode of bad science gone berserk. That's the co-founder of the Weather Channel. This is bad science gone berserk. Dr. Roy Spencer, climatologist. Part of this report is just made up. Follow the money. It's all about generating $2.6 billion in federal grants to keep them in kibbles and bits. All right, so let's go back to the phones. Let's grab a call from Catherine, if we can. Not quite ready yet. So 888-589-8840. We'll take your reactions to the global warming catastrophe. If you still got some opinions about some of the prior stuff we've talked about, that would be fine. But I want to take your reactions on global warming in particular. I've got a piece here, American Thinker, indicating that we're actually entering into a period of global cooling. Now, we've talked about this before. You look at the solar output, there are periods of maximum solar outputs and minimum solar outputs. And if climate and global temperatures are driven primarily by the sun, which makes perfectly good sense to me from an intuitive standpoint, when you have a solar minimum, you would expect there to be cooling. Solar maximum, you're going to have higher temperatures. Well, we are heading, according to astronomers, into a solar minimum. And Russian scientists that are out there looking at this, they're not going to get any money from us, so they don't have any interest in doing anything but telling the truth. They're saying we could be heading into a period of global cooling that could last for 20, 30, 40 years. AmericanThinker.com. With global temperature data now available for the first 3 months of 2014, an interesting trend has clearly emerged: global cooling. No longer is it just a hypothesis. For the first quarter of each calendar year since 2002, it is effectively a fact at reasonably strong statistical significance. And then they've got they got a chart, obviously, which you cannot see. It goes on, that downward trend since 2002 is very close to the standard threshold generally employed across the physical and biological sciences. In other words, the trend here, the pattern fits a formula that is used in physical and biological sciences and gives you reason to believe that there is some confidence in the findings. So reality is we are very likely headed into a period of global cooling. Let's grab a call from Catherine in Wallace, North Carolina. Catherine, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Well, if global warming and climate change is not the truth, why are they teaching it in our churches? I've been given, as a teacher, a Horizons Bible study for the Women's Circle meeting for next year, 2014 to 15.
Yeah.
And on page 48, this is Presbyterian Church USA now. Listen, it says, contemporary debate about Paul's intended meaning of new creation. Well, you and I know what Paul means when he says the new creation.
Mm-hmm.
But he says contemporary debates about Paul's intended meaning of a new creation are informed by questions related to the exploitation of our natural environment and the serious problems the world is facing due to climate change.
Oh,
and
man.
This is what they're teaching in churches.
Now, this isn't a Bible study thing, curriculum?
This is the circle meeting. You know how churches have circle meetings?
Yeah,
for the
and
women?
what denomination is this?
Presbyterian Church USA.
Presbyterian Church USA. Is this being produced?
This is what's meant by Paul's new creation. Are you kidding me? I refuse to teach out of it, and I ordered books from Christian books distributors. I'm just put the Presbyterian Church's Horizons Bible Study in the bottom of your bird cage.
Wow, so this is Presbyterian Church USA. They bought into the complete hype, the total scam about global warming.
Right.
Well, and I'll tell you, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, Catherine. Roy Spencer says follow the money. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see somewhere along the line there is some liberal think tank or liberal trust or fund or whatever that's given them some money. I would be willing to bet if you found out who's funding this curriculum, you're liable to find some kind of liberal outfit behind this, given the denomination. I'm not saying I know that for a fact, but I'm guessing Roy Spencer says follow the money. There's always a money trail when you're talking about something that's not based on science. It's based on hype. It's based on hysteria. Probably somebody giving the Presbyterian Church USA a whole bundle of money to produce swill like that. All right, thank you, Catherine. That's very helpful information to get very insightful and, disturbing on top of all that. Focal Point AFR Talk. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Fisher, the program Focal Point Network, American Family Radio Talk Network. Be right back.